Welcome to another episode of Dallas Social Toastmasters. Tonight, we have a special theme for the upcoming holiday. So before we dive into that and start our meeting, a couple things that we want to go over. First thing is pledge allegiance, so if you please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Not necessarily with our theme, something that probably should be stating at the beginning of each of our meetings, or at least occasionally in our meetings, and that is the Toastmasters Club mission. You don't necessarily have to join me in reciting this, I'll recite it. Just think about it, and think about why we're here, and what Toastmasters is all about as far as club is concerned. So the club mission for Toastmasters is this: we provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. Why we're all here is to grow, and Toastmasters provides that great opportunity in order to do so. I wanted to say one more thing before I introduce our club president. And although this is the first time that he will be participating as club president since the last time that he was club president, this is the beginning of our Toastmasters year. And although distinguished Toastmaster Mr. Lee King has been through this before, we don't have a guest tonight, so please help me welcome on stage. Perhaps he has a word to say to us as he starts his role over this Toastmasters year. Distinguished Toastmaster Mr. Lee King.
Good evening, Toastmasters. Discuss more in my upcoming speech, but just glad to have all of you here and hope to see some more guests. I'm also happy to see that we've got members virtual. Thank you, Toastmasters.
Thank you very much, Lee. Our theme for the evening, as I mentioned, Independence Day. This is a holiday that I hold very dearly because I'm a very proud American. But America's great because we have freedom of speech. And I want to take an opportunity right now to throw a little levity into the meeting with a couple of jokes revolving around the Independence Day. So, setting Revolutionary War. During the Revolutionary War, a lieutenant asked a soldier why he was falling back during a really fierce battle. Did you hear me say that we're outnumbered 4-1? The soldier replied, I got my 4, sir. I don't know if everybody picked up on that. Hopefully you did. Another joke. What do you get when you cross Captain America with the Incredible Hulk? Anybody? Star-Spangled Banner. One more thing that I want to say before I move on to our duty roles for the evening is the Declaration of Independence. Very profound document in the history of the United States. And I'd like to read just some of that with you tonight, and hopefully you begin to reflect upon it over the next couple of days as we grow closer to July 4th, course of human events, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them. A decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and a pursuit of happiness. Incredible words, very powerful, and it represents the founding of our country, and it's something that we can look back on and be sure that we reflect upon from time to time, perhaps at least once every year during our Independence Day. Perhaps we take a moment on Independence Day to reflect upon that. At this point, I would like to go to our duty holders for the evening and ask for their descriptions of the duties and roles they'll be holding this evening. I'm going to start off with our timer, and that is Mr. John Vessels. John, can you describe, or would you describe your duties for this evening as timer, please?
My duties as described, because I'm going to be timing. Several portions of our meeting require us to set the time limit. And that will be my role tonight, to time them. Select the prepared speeches. You hit your minimum time, you'll see the green flag. When you're halfway through, you will see the yellow flag. And when you completed your time, you'll see the red flag pointing you at 30 seconds to 20 minutes. For example, table topics, let's see the green flag at 1 minute, the yellow flag at 1.5, and the red flag at 2 minutes. And again, you always have 30 seconds to wind that back into the red flag. The evaluators, you have 2 to 3 minutes to speak. So you see the green at 2, the yellow at 2.5, and the red at 3. And again, you have 30 seconds to wind up. I will give a report on timing or call upon by the assessment. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, John. Our next duty holder is our vote counter. Please help me welcome Mr. David Newland.
Counters, what is different sections to me, you call upon to vote. That is the best speaker, best table topic, best evaluator, and best big 3. This will be the Toastmaster, the table topic master, or Joni evaluator. So when called upon, you'll see the big cash ballot on the appropriate section on the ballot form, you drop to the blue cup. Also, the top section here, you can make comments with me by speaking up here. If you have any comments, just make sure you put your name so I know who to get to. And of course, at the meeting, we'll award the award. Back to you.
Our next duty holder is our clock monitor for the evening. Please help me welcome Mr. Mark Schroeder and his description.
I'm here playing along with our home day, you know, the slightly lost video we bought here at Denison. So probably going to work on fixing that perhaps while we describe my duty. I'm going to be the posture monitor tonight. And as posture monitor, my job is going to be particularly good for the bad posture, things that either contribute to or take away from your message. If I see something that looks like you were uncomfortable and sexually with it, I'm going to ding you, which would be things, well, potentially like putting your hands in your pockets. If you happen to be doing windshield wipers over and over again, or anything because of T-Rex, anything we notice that just does not contribute to the message that you have going, then we will continue. And I'm going to report also on our speaker and what I noticed there at the end of the meeting.
The next committee voters are eye counters. Performing this duty tonight is Mr. Justin Fox. Please let me welcome Justin in his duty as eye counter.
So as an odd counter, my duty is to count all the but like any type of words that may be repetitive or type of words that may not have here to speak. I also will have a clicker and click anytime I hear these words. I will not clicker and then clicker to speak. Thank you.
Thank you, Justin. Our last duty holder for the evening, coming to us from across the airwaves. Please help me to welcome Karen Lee. Karen, will you please describe your role for us tonight?
Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and honored guests, my duty tonight is as grammarian, and I'll be listening to interesting use. Here we go. I'll be listening for interesting uses of the English language, and I also had the privilege of the word of the day, which is inspire. Definition is to feel with the ability to do or feel something. To use it in a sentence, she was inspired by singing in the choir to take a course in music theory. So please use the word of the day in table topics to be eligible. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Karen. Appreciate that. Before we get into prepared speeches, I would like to express for myself a couple of things that I really appreciate about our country and that I think about a little bit more during our 4th of July holiday or kind of the season that surrounds that. And the first thing obviously that comes to mind is that I can speak my mind. Freedom of speech, as I mentioned before. Doesn't mean that I want to go around insulting people, degrading people, or anything along those lines. Although I do believe in the right to be able to say those things. Because I believe that if you stop being able to say those things, then eventually you're going to be controlled as far as what you can say. You're not going to be able to say almost anything. Yeah. So that's one of the things that I find really exceptional about our country. Not all countries have that. The ability to just express yourselves, and that can be against the government. A lot of other countries, if you do that, you may be at risk of being thrown in jail, being fined, just because you don't like what the government is doing. And that's one thing that our government can't do that. Shouldn't be able to do that. What I'd like to do is ask for anybody out there, if you have one or two things that you find exceptional, something that you take pride in about our country, and take this up. Okay. That's okay. That's okay. All right. So I'll get into a couple more that I maybe think about that, and we'll come back. I'll express a couple more things that I enjoy about our country, that I take some pride in. But let's move into the next portion of our meeting, which is our prepared speech. We do have 2 prepared speeches tonight, which is great. And our first speech is going to be from Lee King. His time for our timer is 5 to 7 minutes. And Lee is presenting a speech revolving around stage. And so what we're going to be looking for, I'm going to evaluate what I'm going to be looking for is his use of the stage, whether it's purposeful, how impactful it is for him, and overall just how well he used it. His title for tonight is Toastmaster New Year. So at this point, I will introduce him. Please help me welcome Mr. Lee King with Toastmaster New Year, Lee King.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. We've made it to another year. As many of you know, and some newer members may not know, July 1st, beginning of the fiscal year for Toastmasters International, which means that our progress starts over again. I'd like to just briefly talk about the successes that our club had last year. Definitely we've had challenges, one of which was the pandemic, but we managed to still meet every week on Zoom. In fact, I don't think we've had any weeks off, which typically we even take the week of Christmas and the week of New Year's off, but through Zoom, we continue to just have social meetings on this week. So while many people may have felt a little shut off from the rest of the world, we had that opportunity to stay connected each week and have some sense of belonging and that we were actually still part of something. And having that commitment to come to Toastmasters once a week, if nothing else, should have helped you keep track of the week. A lot of times, when every day is the same and you never leave your home, it can kind of seem like the world is not really turning anymore. Another good success that we had this past year is we got another point out of 10 on our English Plus program. We came real close to being president distinguished, but we were just a few members shy. Which brings me to the next point, and that is, what do we want to focus on this year in Toastmasters? The obvious would be to get the same number of distinguished plus points, is 9 points, and grow the membership. Which I know we can do that. It's going to take some work, it's going to take some effort on everyone's part, and some sacrifice, perhaps, your time, sacrifice some money for your dues. But I hope that we will continue to work hard over the next year and we will continue to grow. And we'll be here again next year. We will be celebrating a Toastmasters New Year. The one thing that I think was really special about this year is all the members that we have this year are members, or the members that we brought in. And we hope to keep commitment to them and have it revolve. In previous years, we did reach distinguished or better, but we had some help. We had some help from either some ghosts, maybe some dead people, I'm not real sure. Somehow we made the number, but we never saw the number. I hope that we will continue to work on our education, our club building, and our camaraderie among each other over the next year. But
A little early to tell.
But I just want to take this time to thank everybody for all of their hard work for last year. Say that I look forward to working working with all of you this coming year. I suspect that we will have some of the same challenges that we've had the last year, year and a half. We might still continue with virtual meetings, you never know. We might end up back to fully Zoom meetings at some point, depending on what happens with the pandemic. But I just want everybody to know that my goal for the club as president is that we try to meet our distinguished club points, that we grow members, and that you all learn and grow throughout the year. Back to you, Mr. Cutting.
Thank you very much, Lee. Our next speaker for the evening is Mr. John Vessels. He's going to be giving us a little speech about himself. His evaluator for the evening is Mr. Justin Bauer. Justin, will you please tell us what John's objectives are for this speech tonight?
So, John Vessels, as a new member, the purpose of this project is for the members who introduce themselves or herself, learn the basic structure of public speaking. So, John Vessels.
Please help me welcome John Vessels with Just Something About Me. Just Something About Me. John Vessels.
Thank you, Ronald. Well, I haven't checked the seat yet, but this is really close to my 10-year anniversary. We did start in the summer, in the early part of the summer. And so anyway, it's been 10 years now. And this is by far not my first icebreaker. My first icebreaker was actually pretty impressive, I thought. Only because I gave it and we had about 50 people in the room. Because we had a whole bunch of area governors and directors and Jeff Butter Club. Because it was our anniversary, it was our 21st anniversary. So it was Toastmasters 21st anniversary. So if we remember the anniversary date, that's probably what for that. So when I came out then and I looked at my old feet, although that's like my original icebreaker, but I couldn't find it. And so here it is. What I do remember coming up here on stage and saying, trying to decide what to say about myself, and whether I should try to be entertaining or tell a joke. But I can't tell a joke to save my life, and everybody will enjoy. So we're going to go away from that. I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to try and tell you things about me. One of the things about me is I am 7th born of 8. We covered 20 years sergeant in it, and yes, we are Catholic. So my parents are married 60 years. I'm an orphan too, because mom and dad are both dead. But it's not something bad to think about because dad was 88 when he died, and mom was 92 when she died. So they both had long. And I think relatively happy lives. I remember our life being happy growing up. I mean, things happened in our lives. We had issues too, but not anything big. I mean, everything was just, it was just kind of ordinary, everyday, neighborhood type problems. Nothing awful. So I had a great childhood, I thought. I've never been married, never had kids, although I did come close one time. That was a relief. Not to have anything against kids, but I didn't want to have it. If I did, the child would be almost 30 now. So Can you imagine? But anyway. But it is what it is. It worked out the way it's supposed to work out. And can't take it back. We go, people ask, do you have any regrets? It's like, well, probably maybe a couple of years there. Don't do that. I had opportunities in my life to go and do some jobs, do some things that sounded pretty fun, sounded really interesting, but I didn't end up taking them for whatever reason. But I can't look back and say, my gosh, I wish it would have been that, because if I'd have been that, I wouldn't have known all the people I've had over the years and everything else changed my life. I'm not dissatisfied with my life. I do wish I was a multi-billionaire and everybody would all have fun. But unfortunately, I'm not that. So I have no regrets about that. I did what I can, I make what I can, I do what I can. Yes, it would be nice to be retired and make it a couple of years. I can be retired and in my life. Yeah, that'd be boring. I cannot imagine actually retiring. I've always done something. And maybe I can work on other things. I would like to I would like to do and we just a little homestead, kind of thing that I go play around with. I have to go to a couple of pigs and make some sandwiches. Chickens, and just have a good time. And then I do the garden, and I have things to do, and fixing up the house, and just maintaining those kind of things. I mean, I've got to have something to do, otherwise I'm going to sit around and get bigger than I am, and actually, I am smaller than I used to be. I used to be a lot heavier. I'm probably about 50 or 60 pounds lighter than I used to be. So that's big. 288 if I'm talking. I'm not doing very much, although I'm still heavy, but if I didn't have anything else to do, I'd sit around all day watching TV, going fast, probably back in a couple of years. No exercise, anything. So those are a few things about myself that I'd like you to know, and I hope you enjoy it. Thanks
very much, John. At this point, I would like to call for a report from our timer, who happens to be Mr. John Butler. So if John can get that information from David, then we can determine if both speakers qualify. Mr. Timer, did both speakers qualify?
Yeah, I would invite a evening with 5 minutes.
So long. So that means that on your ballot, where it says best speaker, you can vote for either Lee King, who talked about the Toastmasters New Year and our club, and also you could vote for Mr. John Bessels, who gave another icebreaker. Tell us a lot more about himself. Some things that perhaps we didn't know before. So go ahead and place your votes, put them in the cup, and our vote counter will come around to collect those. If you have any comments for either John or Lee, put them in the cup as well, and the vote counter will disperse those as needed. Make sure that you put your name on the comment, their name on the comment, say that it's a comment, so that there's no discrepancy or confusion, I should say, regarding that. A couple of other things before we move on to tabletop. A couple other things that I want to mention about our country. Is our country perfect? No. Right. I think everybody would agree our country is not perfect. However, I would also presume that everybody would say that there's no country out there on this earth that is perfect. And I would express that our country is probably closest to perfect out of all the countries. Our country has grown and overcome a lot of its imperfections, and we continue to do that. And that I find to be one of the great things about our country. It's something that we should be proud of. That we step forward, we see our parts that aren't perfect. We see the points that perhaps some other countries have right, and we need to adjust and perhaps take on some of those qualities. But the bottom line is that we see those things, and many of us push in order to try to improve ourselves. I find that to be something that we should hold dear to our heart, something that we should be proud of our country about. Anybody else have anything that they want to express, they love about our country? I know that everybody does.
I guess the diversity thought.
This is the first thing you thought. That was what you said, Justin? Yes. Absolutely. And that kind of goes back to the same thing that I was just saying. That diversity thought helps us branch out and grow. And we have all of these different cultures, all these different nationalities that come to America. That's how we were founded, and that's how we grew, even in our infancy. And we still continue. We have people who are dying to come into our country because we offer things that other countries don't. We offer opportunities that a lot of other countries do not have at all. David, do you want to add something?
Oh, yeah. Do you want to be, kind of bring back, such a dozen diverse being, and, you should be able to, like, we just more be able to say what you want to say, and not have any reference from the judgment or anything like that.
Absolutely, absolutely. We are growing in that respect. I would say, in some ways, by leaps and bounds, but we still have a long way to go, I should say, in that regard. But we are on the right path, and we have come a long way, where we allow people to be who they are, to do what they want to do, and that's what our country is about, is being able to pursue your dreams, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. So, absolutely, I totally agree with both Justin and David had to say. Anybody else have any comments that they want to make regarding our country? I think that that's enough, but I would implore you to think about it, ponder it over the next 4 days or so. Think about some of the great things that our country has to offer, and things that you're proud of in regard to that. And I'm pretty sure you're going to come up with at least 1 or 2 things that you're proud of for our country. So please do that. And perhaps the next portion of our meeting will inspire you in that regard as well. We're moving into the table topic portion of the meeting. So I'd like to ask you to help me welcome our topic master for the evening. That is Mr. David Newton.
All right, topic master. My job is to determine some questions. Three of my questions are related to the team, so I always like to try to do that when I'm talking to topic master. And I'll follow. The rules of being a topic is you come up here, you're going to call it on, you must speak at least 1 minute. You have 2 minutes and 30 seconds, so between 1 and 2 minutes and 30 seconds is the time frame to qualify. And you must use the word of the day, which is inspire. Which is a really good word for this page. So let's do that. Time frame 1 minute to 2.5 minutes between that, and you use the word inspire to qualify. So I'm going to go ahead and get into the questions. My first question is more kind of open, but kind of related. There's all these kind of holidays out here, relax, work, holidays, things like that. And then you got the major ones like Christmas, Thanksgiving. So Lauren, what is your favorite holiday and why?
Thank you, Mr. Toastmasters. My favorite holiday would be New Year's Day, because my birthday that I have. And usually the new year is, it's kind of inspiring to be a better husband. Thank you.
Thank you, Lord. Now, I think my favorite holiday is Christmas, because Christmas Day is my birthday. So it's on one day. Oh, yeah, Christmas. Yes. Once a year, I'm very close to Christmas. All right, so my next question is going to go, often you have nothing to hear, people are going to be here. Next question is, tell us about your most memorable July 4th moment. Day. Rob.
Thank you, Mr. Topic Master, or Toastmasters. As I mentioned, 4th of July is a holiday that I really look forward to. And part of it is because my family would always get together. And that means uncles and cousins would come together. We would have cookouts, your general food, hot dogs, hamburgers, French fries, potato salad. And I always loved having family around. One, catching up with some cousins that I might not have seen before, just enjoying watching some of my family interact. And we did it pretty much every year. But because of where we were, up in Buffalo, New York, we're not far from Niagara River. Now, you know Niagara Falls, or I'm sure you've heard of Niagara Falls, but Niagara River, they would shoot fireworks all along the river. And so we would go hours early to try to get seats, sit down, and have enough room for all of our family, so that when the fireworks finally came, when the dust came, and we could see the fireworks, that was always something special. It's something that I could count on with love. But that's not what has been the most special, the most inspiring thing as far as a fireworks display for myself. The one time that I remember and cherish the most is when we were camping in Allegheny State Park, which is right on the New York-Pennsylvania border, in Western New York. But we went to a small town, Bradford, PA, and we went to a high school stadium, and they shot fireworks out from the center, and that was incredible. It was incredibly memorable. They were right there. I felt like those fireworks were coming down on me. They weren't, but it was incredible. It was an incredible feeling. I loved it, and that is what I remember being that time. Back to you.
I think what I my most memorable moment is back when I was still in Los Angeles, major as a Foley, the second Foley is the fire zone. The first year that they were actually open for 1st of July, we actually did closer. They made it closer. Foley was 9. And we were open till 9, and I worked late that night, and they had a fireworks show. There's your mom. So people were coming in, filling up the parking lot, and it's pouring cats and dogs that night. It stopped, and it actually stopped the fireworks show. Because of that, by the time fireworks show was over, we closed at 9, and by the time I got off, all these cars in the parking lot trying to get out at the same time. So we neither of those two levels are trying to set the parking lot, but we still do. So it's kind of interesting. All right, my next question is going to be, how did everybody get from burning by firefighter? John.
do the answer. But I changed clothes. Had a lot of clothes all the time. But one time, me and our friends from the cake fight back at work, and we all went out and we tried to grab a cake fight. We wanted more to work with. And we haven't been before with the light work. And it turned out to be kind of crazy. And Monday of open space, so we all got a bit of fireworks. And the thing is that there was this one guy that worked for us, and he was real, I don't know, I mean, it's kind of one of those kind of goofy stuff guys that was politically correct to make somebody still be hurt by every word. Anyway, we now our evening some of the fireworks there. Just that is sweet. And we didn't get any we got thanks for that. But I bought this aerial comic, okay? And it was probably about this big around, and the kid probably about this size. Now, I paid like 30 or 40 bucks for that, and I sent it to the boss. I was shooting fire all our art. Really big fireworks. So I ran up in there and lit it. And I ran away. It's like, I didn't think anything about it. I ran over there, I caught it, I put it back up, and like I did not know when this arrow can't shoot across the grass on the start of the But I got over there, I got it turned up, and it got my head out of the way. It was mine. So I didn't really get that. In my ear, bright yellow light on my head. But I think it burned. You know, that's it. I don't have a really good burn story.
I never really actually got it burned. I got me a little bit. Like when I was a kid, you know, when I went to Albuquerque, once I was trying to put slide, me and my cousin were out back in my grandmother's house, had some little firecrackers, little black asses, not really big, but we used to like hold them in the hand, light the fuse, and hold them and throw away. It's like, well, one quite a little short of fuse, and went through that. Anyway, as I threw it away, it went off. I could feel my fingers. My fingers got over my. You hear always these horror stories all the time. Somebody, you know, done a lot worse than that. So it's really got to be really safe about firecrackers, things like that. You know, when it comes to, especially like noises, you know, that can scare the dog out of town. So you have to cripple and things like that. So that comes to my next question. Karen, would you guys give some July 4th safety tips?
Mr. Toastmasters, the question, what would you put in your July 4th safety kit?
No, July 4th safety tips.
Oh, July 4th safety tips. Okay. I think Mr. Table Topics Master and fellow Toastmasters and honored guests, I think one of the things I would have for July 4th is a fire extinguisher for a safety tip. I would advise children under 18 not to play with firecrackers. And one safety tip that I would think would be necessary would be if the grass was too dry, there hadn't been enough rain, it probably would not be a good idea to set off firecrackers. And I would also be inspired to see some firecrackers on 4th of July. Back to you, Mr. Table Topics Master.
Thank you, Karen. We got one more question. We got to Kim. What does Independence Day mean to you? What does Independence Day mean to you?
Thank you for that question. What does Independence Day mean to me? I think it is a time to be inspired, show our patriotism. Last year, people did not really have an opportunity to celebrate the 4th of July as they might normally do, but I noticed that the complexes around me, even though they're in city limits, a lot of people were intently showing fireworks, shooting them off. So it'll be interesting to see. Hopefully, it'll be a little bit more different this year with things opening up and having a chance to actually maybe participate and being able to show more patriotism. But I think it's a time to reflect on things that we have here versus anywhere else in the world, as Rob has stated. Anybody that has been outside of the United States will definitely recognize and appreciate all the differences. Anything from the simple things that can be purchased in the store versus in a lot of areas that are not available. Being able to vote, some countries are very limited. Being able to express ourselves and just being able to know that we have the opportunity to have different viewpoints. So I think there's a lot of different things that come to mind when you talk about the 4th of July. Mr. Ted, what is next?
Thank you, Kim. So that will conclude the table topic section. So I will now call upon a comment report. Does everybody qualify on time? Yes, everyone qualifies.
Barely.
All right, now I'll call upon the grammarian. Does everybody use the word of the day?
I did not hear John or Kim use the word of the day. Did they say inspire?
So everybody, yeah, okay, everybody use the word of the day then? So please take a moment and vote for the best table topic speaker tonight, which is going to be Lauren, talk about her biggest favorite holiday. Rob talked about the most memorable 4th of July. Tom talked about we ever been hit by a firecracker or burned on one. Karen talked about safety tips, July 4th, and Kim talked about what Independence Day means to her. So remember, you take a vote, and also if you have any comments as well for any speakers up here, you leave those in there as well. So I'm going to call upon the general evaluator to come up and perform the evaluation section. This will be Kim Graham.
Thank you, David. As a general evaluator, I have several duties to perform tonight. First of all, we did have 2 excellent prepared speeches. At this time, I'm going to call up the individual evaluators to give their report. For this speech tonight, we're going to hear from Rob. Come on up and give us your evaluation.
Thank you very much, Madam General Evaluator, fellow members, especially you. Your speech tonight was very inspiring speech from my perspective. And your goals were involving using the stage. I'm going to go over a few things that I thought you did well. A couple of things that I thought you might think about improving upon or changing a little bit. And then finally, something that I really loved about your speech. So the first thing that I want to mention is that you did use the stage. This was part of your goal of using the stage, and you did it throughout. For the whole period of your speech, you moved to the left, to the right, and that was great. You were good when you were actually talking about the club DPT points. You moved here, you talked about that. Talked about the came back to the center when you talked about the effort of the club and the sacrifice, not just of our club, but of Toastmasters over the course of the period of the pandemic. And so you used the points specifically and purposely when you were making those statements. Another thing that I liked about your speech was just, as I mentioned, it was inspiring. There was a positive nature to it. And it's a great way to start the Toastmaster New Year, which was the title of your speech. So I thought that the positivity was good and that was inspirational for the audience. The third thing that I want to mention that wasn't throughout your speech, but I thought it was great. It added something to your speech. It brought a little bit of focus from the audience back to the audience if they had wandered off in their minds, and that was human. We talked about the ghost members or the ghosts that our club had during some of those periods of time. And so that was humorous, and I felt that was a good way to kind of grab everybody's attention back and make sure that they were paying attention. So obviously humor is a great way to do that, so you did a great job with that. A couple of things that I want to mention in regard to speech that perhaps you can think about for the next speech is that although you did have some purposeful movement with your stage use, I thought that there was a little bit of kind of back and forth without some purpose. It wasn't really distracting, but if you were looking for purpose, which is, I think, probably the most important thing for your speech is that have purposeful movement on stage. Use it and make it something that you could have an impact on the audience a little bit more. But you had a little bit of movement without. And I also felt that you, although you tried to move a little bit over to this side of the stage, it wasn't enough. I thought you could have gone a little bit further this way to make a little bit better statement about another point that you were trying to make. That you used the whole extent of the stage. Overall, I thought that your topic where it had a purpose for our club was great, and that was the best part of your speech, how it reflected upon our club and what our goals would be going forward. Back to you, Madam General.
Thank you, Rob. Our second speaker this evening is John, and his editor is Justin. Justin, come on up and give your evaluation.
So I'll do a 3, 2, 1. 3 things I like, 2 things to work on, 1 thing I don't. First of all, I love you were comfortable. You were really hilarious. You were really funny. You were very charismatic, very charming. It was just a funny speech. It was very informative. Gave me details of what life, how you had a great childhood, how you lost weight, how it was college, how you also didn't have any children, and how if you had children, they were very kind of funny stuff. you are very confident. I feel like very, like, you really knew what you wanted to convey today. That was really good. I can really tell that you were not, I can tell that you, came off the top of your head sometimes, and you were like going through it, saying it. It was like a really great man. Two things to work on, maybe giving it a bit more structure, because it kind of jumps around. Like, we did, we didn't stay in order from your childhood to your adulthood to over years. I would say that. Include, man. And what is that? That is the name that's it, but I didn't put it in. Wow. I would also like you to include more, if you included more vocabulary words, I would like that as well. So great overall speech, I would just say maybe some more structure. That's the thing.
At this time, I'm going to call for a summary report. John, the vote of our, is that way disqualified?
Yeah.
Please take a moment and cast the vote for the vote evaluator.
It's just Justin.
So at this time, I'm going to ask for the duty holding report. Our first one is going to be Mark Schroeder, giving us the report on cost monitor.
Thank you, Jim. You didn't hear the cost of much because I didn't see anything that was really too egregious or too repetitive, but I did notice a few things I'm going to talk about. Let's see. I noticed, Karen, when you were talking, I'm not sure exactly why, but you were looking to your left a certain amount of the time. And I'm not sure that you were looking far to your left, and it was a little bit distracting. Both Rob and John, very good on stable feet. Not a lot of shifting back and forth or motion that didn't make sense. I also was looking in general for your hand motions that you were both using left and right, using them approximately, really closely, right hand. You expect a little bit of a dominance from one hand, but you were using both hands, you weren't using one hand to be exclusive of the other. Lauren, I did catch you in spite of the lecture, and I had been to the right angle with that forward hand of the coffee. So you thought you were going to get away with it behind the box, it didn't work. Dagan, especially animated throughout your little run. You were very animated, and that shows enthusiasm and interest, so I thought that was very good. Well, let's see. The one thing that I saw was when you made the remark about love having family, you did kind of hugging remark. The hugging was just went very well with that particular remark. And there was another spot where you finished. Where's my writing? Oh, I'll take it back. There was a point at which you were beginning a new point that you said for one time, and that was the time that you moved over to the stage, to stage left, and then stopped to discuss that point. That's exactly an example of the time to move. Beginning a new point, but another point on the stage. You marked it with the distance before. Finally, let's see, Justin, one thing that I did notice, as you were talking about the comment about clicking, that was the one and only time that you went to pick it. So you actually held the paper in your hand in front of you. And the rest of the time you were just like nothing at all unusual or check. And the whole value.
Thank you. Let's hear from Dustin about the off-camera report.
Okay. That's right. Thank you. So, Lee was 0. John, I think you may have one off, but very two, very small two. Rob had none, John had none. Aaron may have one, but what is sort of like the, yeah, I clicked it though. And me, I had like 10, so. That's it, thanks.
As the Marion Disney was Karen, give us your report.
Madam General Evaluator, I did hear Rob talk about speaking his mind when he was doing his Toastmasters introduction. In Lee's speech, he talked about belonging as we belong together with using Zoom. He talked about growth and membership. He said that Toastmasters, we sacrificed our time and our money. He also mentioned the ghost members. We had camaraderie in our group on the Zoom Toastmaster meetings. John Vessel mentioned the old TV show Leave It to Beaver. And Rob even used the word of the day, inspire, in his evaluation of Lee's speech. Back to you, Madam Table Topics.
This is now my opportunity to give a few comments about the meeting overall. First of all, our Toastmaster did a great job. I like the theme. Nickelbottom follows the theme also. And word of the day, Karen also went with the theme. One of the things that I know that Robin has been working on is getting the agenda out early so people can know what they might be doing for the next meeting and give the opportunity to confirm so that the Toastmasters can be more prepared and anything that needs to be filled in, so the Toastmasters can be prepared for it. We had new speakers, great job. I like overall the duty holders did a great job not only in their description of the job, but in the report. We did not have any visitors this evening, but that would be very beneficial and helpful for visitors to come to know what to expect and what that duty really is supposed to be doing. Our evaluators both did a great job this evening. There's a couple things that I wanted to comment about the evaluations. First of all, both of our evaluators made them personal. And they did specific examples, which is really great, because that's what the speakers need. I also liked how Ross writing his evaluation so that you knew exactly how the students work on the evaluation. So at this point, the only thing that I have left to do is to maybe comment about making sure that, even though we're small numbers, make sure that we really clap so that we can have the energy. At this time, I'm going to ask you to please vote for the best of the big three. That's the last ballot that we can have in the meeting. That would be our Toastmaster Rob, or myself as an evaluator, or David as his public. While you're doing that, I'm going to ask Lisa to come on up and conduct our business portion of the meeting. Come on up.
Overall, and that's a few things, and just thought I would bring this up briefly. Generally speaking, as Bud, we do really well with starting the meeting on time, or real focused on time. However, especially while we were on Zoom, it seemed like the meetings were always running late, and got later. Meeting ended at 8, so for that reason, you will find the business portion of the meeting on weeks like today, or 15 o'clock, speaker report. I'll just hit a couple of high points. First of all, the CLI, Toastmasters Leadership Institute, has started. So please make sure that if you do not not go to this week, you go to next weekend, or the one that's held on a Wednesday night. Second thing is, sometime soon we will have officer training as well as officer installation. I will be getting with Rob on that date. The third and final thing is that just found out from Rob that our area contest is early this year, it's September the 11th, which means that we will have a club contest fairly early in August. Be thinking about if you're wanting to compete. And finally, as I kind of mentioned in the speech, we're always looking for new members, so please think of ways in which we can help grow and get more members. We have some members that are not attending for a while, reach out to them, make sure we're keeping days. If there's people that you think might be interested, try to get them to commit. We might look at some other membership building. With that, do we have a vote on the report? Yes. All right. There are votes on the report.
All right, we'll do one that everybody knows first, and that's gonna be our best evaluator, Justin. And I could not find a best speaker over there, so if I should there help. Anyway, oh, your ribbon where the winner is. So best speaker is going to go to John. Best table topic is going to be John. And the best of the big three